Imagine waking up every day, not just to work, but to build something that matters. Imagine creating not just for recognition or reward, but because you believe in something so deeply that you must create. Some of the greatest innovations in history were not born from a hunger for profit. They were born from a hunger for justice, for progress, for a better world. Today, let's talk about why a just cause isn't just a nice idea, it's the beating heart of true innovation. When innovation is driven purely by the pursuit of profit, it tends to be incremental. Companies might improve features, reduce costs, or add convenience, but these are often surface-level changes. When the primary goal is to extract value rather than create value, the imagination of those involved becomes constrained by the boundaries of financial metrics. They ask, what will sell, rather than, what could make a difference? In contrast, when a team unites behind a cause greater than profit, the work transcends the marketplace. The questions they ask shift from efficiency and margins to meaning and impact. Innovation, then, is not just about outpacing competitors. It becomes about outpacing old paradigms altogether. A cause greater than profit liberates creative thinking because it invites risk. When people believe in something larger than themselves, when they are fueled by the possibility of making lives better, protecting dignity, advancing knowledge, or preserving the planet, they are willing to venture beyond the safe and familiar. Profit-driven innovation is cautious by nature, because driven innovation is bold. It is willing to fail, willing to be misunderstood, willing to disrupt, because the stakes are higher than quarterly earnings. It trades the comfort of predictability for the thrill of possibility. In such an environment, the impossible begins to feel inevitable. When a just cause sits at the center of a mission, the very definition of success expands. It's no longer measured solely by the balance sheet. It's measured by the ripple effects of the work. It's measured in the lives touched, the futures protected, the systems challenged, and the new standards set. Because profit is no longer the ultimate goal, innovation can stretch farther. It can address needs that markets overlook. It can challenge injustices that systems ignore. It can imagine futures that traditional models deem unrealistic. The presence of a cause makes these ambitions not only realistic, but necessary. Look back at the major leaps in history, from the abolition of slavery to the landing on the moon, and you'll see that innovation on that scale was not born from the desire to sell more products. It was born from the desire to fulfill a greater promise: freedom, unity, discovery. Those who pursued these dreams faced setbacks that would have crushed those motivated solely by personal gain. But cause breeds perseverance. It reminds people why the struggle is worth it, even when progress is slow, even when the vision feels distant. It reframes obstacles as steps towards something profound. Inside an organization driven by a cause greater than profit, the culture itself transforms. People don't clock in just to earn a paycheck. They show up to advance a mission. They collaborate not because they are told to, but because they believe that working together is the only way to achieve something meaningful. Hierarchies soften. Silos break down. Status becomes less important than contribution. When innovation is demanded not by shareholders, but by shared belief, it becomes a living, breathing part of the culture. It becomes everyone's responsibility, not just a department's. Leadership under a cause-driven model shifts from control to inspiration. Instead of dictating tasks and monitoring output, leaders invite their people into a story. They paint a vision so compelling that people willingly offer their best ideas, their boldest efforts, their deepest loyalty. Innovation thrives here because it is fueled not by compliance, but by commitment. Leaders who champion a just cause don't need to push innovation from the top down. They create an environment where innovation bubbles up from everywhere. Even failure is reinterpreted in environments where a cause takes precedence. In profit-only structures, failure often signals the end, an unacceptable blemish on a company's record. But in cause-driven innovation, failure is seen as a necessary companion to progress. It becomes a teacher rather than a punishment. When people know they are striving toward something greater, they are more willing to experiment, to iterate, to admit what isn't working. They stop hiding mistakes and start learning from them. As a result, the organization moves faster, learns deeper, and builds stronger. Moreover, a cause greater than profit unlocks emotional engagement. Human beings are not wired to be inspired by revenue targets. We are wired to be inspired by meaning. A cause taps into that core part of us that longs to be useful, to be significant, to belong to something larger than ourselves. When innovation becomes an act of service, when it feels like offering something valuable to the world, people bring their full selves to the work. They bring their passion, their intuition, their stubborn hope, and the results reflect that wholeness. In the absence of a cause, innovation tends to become reactive. Companies wait for disruption before they act. They cling to what works until it stops working. But when innovation is driven by purpose, it becomes proactive. People are motivated to imagine what the world needs next, not merely what it will buy next. They anticipate change rather than resist it. They lead it rather than follow it. Innovation under a cause-led banner is not a defensive posture. It is an offensive commitment to making tomorrow better than today. And perhaps most importantly, when innovation stems from a cause greater than profit, it leaves a legacy. Products come and go. Technologies evolve. Markets shift. But the impact of a cause-driven innovation endures. It plants seeds that future generations will water. It builds bridges that others will cross. It changes the conversation long after the original innovators have moved on. In the end, a cause doesn't just create innovation, it creates a new reality. When people work for a just cause, resilience becomes second nature. They are no longer motivated simply by tasks or rewards, but by a belief in something deeply meaningful. This belief acts like armor during times of struggle. It gives individuals the strength to endure obstacles, rejections, and failures because they understand that the mission is bigger than any single setback. In environments where personal or financial gains are the only motivation, resilience often runs shallow. But when the heart is tethered to a purpose worth fighting for, perseverance runs deep. A just cause shifts the mindset around adversity. Challenges are not seen as stop signs, but as signposts, indicators that the path may be difficult, but is still worth pursuing. People do not crumble under pressure. They adapt, they rethink, and they find new paths forward. They don't measure success by how easy the journey is. They measure it by how committed they remain, even when the journey tests every limit they have. Adversity becomes an expected and even welcomed part of the process because it sharpens their skills, clarifies their values, and strengthens their resolve. Creativity flourishes when it is unchained from the fear of failure. A just cause gives permission to think beyond the immediate and the obvious. It opens the mind to ideas that may seem impractical at first, but have the potential to change everything. In organizations driven by just causes, creativity is not confined to the marketing department or the design team. It becomes the language everyone speaks. It becomes a shared commitment to never settle for good enough when better is possible, and never settle for better when revolutionary can be imagined. The presence of a just cause also allows people to take emotional risks, which are often the birthplace of the most groundbreaking ideas. They feel safe to share ideas that might seem strange or unconventional because they know the cause demands bold thinking. They are willing to propose radical changes because the mission justifies the discomfort of transformation. Without the anchoring of a just cause, many ideas die before they are ever spoken aloud, smothered by the fear of ridicule or rejection. A just cause makes that risk worth taking. Resilience and creativity are not traits reserved for a special few. They are capacities that lie dormant in many, waiting for the right conditions to awaken them. A just cause provides those conditions. It reminds individuals that their effort matters, that their creativity has a purpose beyond personal achievement. It tells them that persistence is noble, not naive, that trying again is a sign of commitment, not incompetence. Over time, this shifts entire cultures. Teams become braver, individuals become more inventive, organizations become more dynamic and alive. The setbacks encountered along the way are not viewed as failures of the mission, but as evidence of its importance. If the goal were easy, it would not be worth pursuing. A just cause infuses every obstacle with meaning. When difficulties arise, and those committed to the cause see them as tests of faith, rather than reasons to quit. They refine their strategies, deepen their collaboration, and strengthen their convictions. Innovation often springs forth from these moments, where desperation meets inspiration, and necessity mothers invention. In environments fueled by just causes, creativity is not siloed to the rare moments of brainstorming. It becomes an everyday practice. It is found in the way problems are framed, in the way teams are organized, in the way feedback is given and received. It seeps into the way meetings are conducted and decisions are made. Creativity becomes a mode of survival and a mode of progress. It becomes the essential energy that propels the cause forward, one inventive step at a time. Resilience ensures that creativity is not a fleeting spark, but a lasting flame. It protects the spirit of innovation during times when results are slow or recognition is absent. It provides the internal drive necessary to continue experimenting, refining, and reimagining, even when external validation is nowhere to be found. When the outer world is silent or skeptical, the inner commitment fueled by the just cause keeps people moving. It keeps them building, dreaming, and trying. The relationship between resilience and creativity becomes cyclical in the presence of a just cause. Each creative breakthrough fuels greater resilience by offering evidence that progress is possible. Each display of resilience strengthens creativity by reinforcing the belief that new solutions are always within reach. The longer individuals stay connected to their cause, the more robust their capacity for both becomes. They become more agile in the face of change and more imaginative in the face of uncertainty. In such a culture, failure is not final, and success is not stagnant. There is always more to be done, always new ways to grow, always fresh ideas to explore. A just cause does not allow complacency to take root. It continuously challenges individuals and teams to stretch beyond their previous limits, to ask harder questions, to imagine brighter futures. It builds people who are not only capable of enduring but capable of creating, not only capable of surviving but capable of inspiring. When we align ourselves with a just cause, we unlock parts of ourselves that would otherwise remain dormant. Resilience becomes a quiet strength, carrying us through moments when giving up might seem easier. Creativity becomes a daily practice, stretching our minds and hearts to see possibilities where others see walls. A just cause does more than inspire us, it transforms us. It gives our efforts meaning, our challenges purpose, and our successes significance beyond personal gain. In the presence of a cause worth believing in, we do not simply endure the journey, we reinvent the very path forward, leaving behind not just solutions, but a legacy.